Alright, I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to give it a go. I am in a little drone that is essentially like a four-wheeler version of a drone, something that could possibly be a thing in the future. And we are in Florence. We're going to take train tracking off because that is holding us a little lower than I want to be. So, taking off at the airport. You see the city over in that direction. And we're going to head to Mugello. Might be a longer flight in this, more like a car drive. So I have got to go out on the road and head up towards the highway, and we are going to follow this road and essentially treat this like a truck sim, I guess, but in the air. And it looks like, I don't know what our speed can be. I don't know if we're going to run out of battery as well. I'm not sure how this thing really works, but we've got to get up over those mountains into the valley over there. And we got photogrammetry. Well, we come across an IKEA. But yeah, there's a small airport grass strip out at next to the racetrack. But really, I just kind of wanted to take a nice slow flight out there and see what the area is like, because I don't know a whole lot about Italy. It's not a place we learn about here in the middle of Nebraska. And I was surprised to see that it only has like 70 some public airports, where Nebraska has 91 public airports. But we've also got a lot more land that we can use. A little truck stop here. See, this is just like Euro Truck Sim. But actually, everything is working pretty good with this. We're getting to see some decent looking terrain. And we've already made it, I think, close. No. So I'm guessing that valley over there is where we're going up over. Now, there are some tunnels that are probably going to screw me up. But looks like we got a toll booth here. I'll just fly right over top of it. And what is this? Got a lot of solar panels, whatever it is. Power lines are high enough. Alright, I think this is our intersection that we need to turn. I'm going to say yes. Head up this direction, and if not, we can fly over a different part of town. We don't have to follow roads. I'm just doing it to safely get to where I want to go. But yeah, right now we're in photogrammetry. Once we get out of photogrammetry, things are probably going to look a little worse, a little funky. But this is working pretty good. Making good pace, just essentially driving 100 feet in the air. Actually, the quality of what we got here is pretty darn good for as low as we are. I know that a lot of stuff looks kind of funky and jaggy, but it's pretty crazy that we got it. Now we are flying through some power lines. Luckily, they don't actually exist, so A lot of industry out here, though. Got some trees going through the overpass of the trains, and we are starting to gain a little bit of altitude here. But we're going to turn off and head that direction as we climb up into the hills. That overpass might not be the correct height. Then we got some images. Yep, now we're out of photogrammetry. Now we are into just the basic images and AI-generated buildings, but doesn't look too terrible. The overpasses are just a mess. Pick up the speed a bit. So we climb up the hill here, and I don't know where the road goes. This might be our first tunnel. And if so, then we're just gonna have to find our own way over the terrain. I'm gonna say that's probably a tunnel. Yeah, it is. It's out the other side here. So yeah, I was reading a bit about the area, and Mugello is not that old of a track. I mean, it's in the 70s, but they used to do a massive road race up here in the 20s up until the late 60s on like a 40-mile course. I'm sure it changed year after year, but yeah, they they had to end that after they killed some people and injured some people. So now we've got a bridge. Oh, and we've got massive freeze up there. But yeah, the track is not where I would have expected it. It's up in this valley that we're headed up to over these mountains. And it is on the other side of the valley. But we've got a ways to go as we take this really slow drive, essentially, up through this. So we might shortcut it a bit or fast forward through this area since there's not a whole lot to look at, but we are up in the hills, mountains. Looks like a landslide happened over there. Pretty high altitude here as well for this. Just hope we don't run out of battery. I'm not sure if we are capable of filling the battery up with the normal fuel. Should be okay though. Hopefully the sound's not too annoying, but let's keep heading along here, and this is much easier to fly than a helicopter. It's kind of easier. Same principles, but it corrects itself. Gyroscopes. It's a neat little area, though. It's really good. Alright, so we should see a lake once we get just looking at Google Earth as I go through all this. Once we get far enough, there should be a lake that we will have to our right side. And that should, yeah, that should be the valley that we are going into. But right now I'm not quite 100% sure where we're at in this trip. I'm into the shadow of this massive mountain here. So yeah, this place is pretty far away from Florence for a drive to get there for a place that holds some major events, but again, tracks don't usually fare well in cities. Let's see if we can go straight line over this. I don't know if we can get the altitude. Looks like we can. Only so much these little drone props can do. We're down to 60% on the battery, so you can see a valley up here. It's got to be our valley. We just need to find the lake, and then I'll be able to find the track. But really only about 12 minutes now since we left the airport. I'm sure in a regular car, things would be a lot slower. We're able to skip over many things and not have to pay fees. All right, so there's the lake. So on the other side of this valley is going to be the track. Probably right about in that direction. Now, I have been out to the track. It's just an image pasted on terrain, so it's not going to look great. But we'll try to do a lap of it. Only time I've ever driven the track is on Forza. And that came out a few months ago. But yeah, up against the hills over there somewhere is the track. I think it's well past the lake here. I think this lake, this little bridge across the lake, unless there's another one further south, I think that was part of the original track as well. Oh yeah, track is much further down, I think. But a really, really awesome looking area. I mean, sorry Slinger, but this looks a hell of a lot cooler. But who would have ever thought that Italy would look way cooler than Wisconsin? Alright, looking for the track off to the left. I think it's up past this town up ahead, or that might actually be it over there. Is that it? That's looking like a racetrack. I think we're gonna head in that direction. Probably drop down a bit too, but actually this view is really awesome, so I don't mind being up this high. We're going to smack the ground hard, though, when we get there. We're at 48% on the battery. We'll throw it in sport mode when we get to the track. I don't think that'll be good news for us, but there is some money down there. Swimming pool. God, I forgot how good this game can look at certain points. I feel like we're stalled out here, but this has got to be the track. I think I'm looking for that running track just to the right of us on the maps to see. Spot that, yeah. There we go, so. Not even going to try to pronounce the names. I looked at this one that we're flying right over, and it looked like it said Pianoville, but I know that's not correct. But yeah, this is the amazingly beautiful terrain that Mugello's in. And I hope that it can look this amazing with their new development that they've made with how Zandvoort and everything else was. Obviously, we're not going to have all these buildings and towns, but should be able to get the fields and the mountains and hills and everything around pretty nice. So we're on 16, 17 minutes, so it's probably about a 40, 50 minute drive up here. Because you're not going to straight line all this, and you got to go pretty far that direction before you get out of the mountains that we cut across. There is the racetrack. We're going to enter the track at the final turn. I believe this is a right hand. Yeah, it's right hand. First turn. Last turn's left-hander. Ooh, dropping fast. But you can see quite a bit of elevation change. Some of it might be a bit exaggerated, just because of the terrain data. Over smaller distances might not be that great. Okay. Coming in here. Got some trees on the inside of the track. I'm not sure that's 100% accurate right there. And obviously, we're not going to have any walls or anything like that. Thing looks really narrow as well. But let's bring it down to the ground. Oh, we're down. Okay, well, that's a landing. Let's try to go into terrain tracking, sport mode. Okay. I think terrain tracking is screwing us up. Sport mode, though. So yeah, I don't think there's that big of a hill right there. They do have some sort of parking garage put there, but at least they know it's sort of car related. And we are going up a very bad modeled terrain here and into the first turn. And up This is a tricky little chicane down and then back up. I don't think it drops that much, though. Got some cars or something on track, though. And down, essentially, the backstretch to another chicane. Down. And this seems like a bigger drop than I remember in the games, but holy crap. That was a massive drop there. Off over to this area. Man, this seems very narrow. But we are flying well above it now. So some really quick turns here. And we're gonna turn back on ourselves. Weren't able to make that turn. Cutting the course. A fast 180 back. Whoop. Whoop, we might wreck. There we go. Alright. And then a little S back to another 180. And then to the straightaway again. Got 24% battery left. That is a pretty ugly version of Mugello. Although everything else around it, really great looking. But once you start getting down into details of stuff like that, it's always going to be really difficult to make look good. But landscape you can make look really great. And it's going to be a pretty awesome place to race. Be a fun track. And hopefully I do a little bit better job of driving around it once we get it in sim in a couple of days. But it'll be interesting to see how much they have this valley modeled and how far in the distance you can see, because obviously we're not going to be up this high unless we're in blimp mode. So yeah, be interesting, but very cool, neat area. Let me know if you got any more information on it, because again, I know nothing about Italy, but this is a really cool looking place. Thanks for watching.